no matter what level you are in the society, whether you are a mother, whether you are a chief, whether you are a fisherman, no matter what perceived level you were at, everyone still had this same goal. And the goal was to live in your highest self, evolve spiritually, and ultimately take that with you to the other side, come back, bring it here again, so on and so forth. We are diving into your purpose in the global shift to higher consciousness today. Now, a lot of people come and ask me what their role is aside from themselves in this planetary awakening, this planetary shift that if you are in any spiritual spaces, you likely are seeing. And a lot of this came off the back of the pandemonium that happened in 2020. I don't know if you all remember that. It was a few years ago. It feels like just yesterday. Now, before that, there were some of us who were already awakening, and we were awakening in preparation for this moment. There are also some of you who, over the last 3 years, have been experiencing and awakening yourself on an individual level for a role in the big picture. I want to talk a little bit about what is this big picture? Why is it happening? What's coming? And then what is your role in that? And how can you find your purpose in the human awakening experience we're in? We got to dive first into what actually is this global awakening. If we go back a few thousand years, at least in the West, because of how things have been structured in our society, most people, most humans have been mostly concerned with their day to day survival. Everything has been about, am I going to have enough food? Am I going to have shelter? Be able to pass anything down to my children? Am I even going to be able to have children? These very basic needs have been the sole focus for human beings. And here in the West, it's really difficult because of how things are set up. It's really difficult to focus on fulfillment, on finding meaning and purpose until those basic things are met. Now, I can probably hear you might be saying in your mind, I need more money, or I need more resources. However, what we're talking about is having our basic needs met. And none of us need our cars. There are other options, or none of us need a waterfront property. Those are desires. But we've now gotten to a place where, for those of us in the West, we have mostly gotten to a certain level of our survival needs met. Now, a lot of people are struggling to get out of that because there's trauma that comes with constantly being in survival, and that could keep you in that mode until you become aware that you are in survival mode and you can shift out of it. But this is what's happening. Now, if we look at our ancient cultures, really anywhere across the world, yes, there are differences. However, most of them had purpose and survival built in together. They actually utilized community, actually held the intention that the self-actualization, or each person living to their highest potential while surviving, was what was best for all, right? Because they were looking holistically. They were looking at the whole human being, not just their human needs like food, shelter, water, clothing, protection from the elements, connection. They were looking at also the emotional and spiritual well-being as being a need, as being a requirement for a whole, productive, connected human being. And the societies were, from my perspective, mostly set up with the intention of, no matter what level you are in the society, whether you are a mother, whether you are a chief, whether you are a fisherman, no matter what perceived level you were at, everyone still had this same goal. The goal was to live in your highest self, evolve spiritually, and ultimately take that with you to the other side, come back, bring it here again, so on and so forth. Because reincarnation is a concept that is very common. So, with that context, we can start to understand a little bit more about what's happening. What's happening is so many people are becoming aware of the fact that we live in a society that doesn't necessarily have our best interest in mind, that it just wants worker bees. And all of those systems that have been set up with that intention are crumbling. So now we see people really craving interconnectedness, they're really craving community, and there's this desire to live with meaning, not just live like an animal, constantly just looking for what is the next meal, but really live for some purpose, for some impact. It's not just about the impact that you make, but it's also about you being fulfilled and then spilling that over to affect and impact others. So, what does it mean to live in your highest purpose? Or what does that actually look like on a day to day basis? A lot of people talk about purpose as if it's a intangible, or as if it's something that you can't touch. And the truth is that when you are living in your purpose, it is a very real and practical thing, because when you're in your purpose, you experience flow. You are experiencing this increase in productivity, this increase in your ability to make decisions, this increase in the impact that you can make, because you're not having to overcome so much internal resistance. You can just move with everything else and everyone else. So your purpose is really about going beyond success. I know that you want success, that you have visions for your life. So I want to invite you to just take a second to really reflect. What are some of the unique opportunities and resources that you already have at your disposal to make a difference in the world? The other piece as well is maybe you don't know yet what your purpose is, and that's okay. The truth is that your purpose can't be figured out. You can't figure it out with your mind. It has to be unveiled to you. It has to be unfolded to you, because your purpose is unique to you. You're more likely to win the lottery or be struck by lightning than to exist. So trying to copy someone else's purpose is going to be impossible. The truth is, your mind can only copy. So if you're using your mind to try to figure out your purpose, you will always be left unfulfilled. But you can pay attention to, where is your energy? Where are you gaining more energy? Where are you in flow? And then how do you do more of that? And how can you integrate that into the things that you're already doing? Let's be honest, if you look at your past, you know that every single time you hit a goal, you were satisfied or excited or happy for a brief moment, and then you were on to the next. So this is why we have to look for the fulfillment in the journey and create the success from fulfillment. That is the only way to be satisfied as you step into greater levels of your capacity, of your potential. The other thing that you can do as well is really start looking for thought leaders and surround yourself with people who are in their purpose, who are really allowing themselves to follow their purpose and to actually bring that out into the world. So I have a few questions for you to reflect on and really consider if these insights can help guide you a little bit. First, you can start with what really matters to you. Imagine your funeral. What are you hoping that people say about you? What are you hoping that the people that matter remember you for? Next, you want to look at what global issues or what big picture issues really speak to you or you have some connection to. I'm not saying that It's not important to care about what the issues of the day are. However, when it comes to your purpose, it's going to be something that you go back to again and again and again. It doesn't mean that these global issues are things that you have to donate to. It could be that you somehow integrate that into your work. The next question you can ask yourself is, how might you use some of your skills and resources, your networks, to help solve some of the needs in the world? Who is it that you admire that's leading a purpose driven life? What are you able to learn from them? Now, this last question, which might be the most important out of all of them, if you could do anything without a fear of failure, without a fear of being judged by others, what would you be doing? I want you to commit to exploring your higher purpose. The last thing that I want to leave you with, which is a little bonus, is to understand that your purpose is not what you do, but it's who you are. If you are not in alignment with who you're here to be, and instead being who you think you should be or who you think is acceptable to others, then you are not embodying your purpose. And this is ultimately the inner work that's required to step into your purpose. You really do have an opportunity through the achievement that you've created so far. You can utilize and leverage all of that to create a better world for all of us, but it has to start with you. I'll see you the next time.